Hi there. So a while ago I did a review on this microphone here. This is the Maono, and sometimes I've said Maono, or some people say Maono, but I believe it's pronounced Maono. I want to make sure I get that right. Of their PD200W, and this is a hybrid microphone system. So the difference between this microphone system and a regular microphone system is that this one is also wireless. And I absolutely fell in love with its capabilities because this particular microphone can be hooked up through the XLR, the USB-C, and also with this little receiver right here. Now, the only thing that it couldn't do was hook into a mirrorless camera system because you need that 3.5mm jack. And at the time they were working on something, but they didn't have anything available right away. So I had to wait, but I was kind of excited. So I wanted to try to see if it would link up with the T5 system. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the T5 system, it's this little guy right here. And I'm actually using it right now. You're actually listening to it right now. And it also works very similarly wirelessly like the PD200W. With the exception of it doesn't have a studio microphone sound to it. And you're going to hear the difference between the sound between this one and this one. But again, I was a little disappointed that it wouldn't link up. So I had to do some investigation, and I have some answers for you if you wanted to know why that was. Why can't you do that? Why didn't they figure out how to do that? And I'm going to explain. Because there is some differences between the two receivers. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that even though that this is 2.4G and their other receiver is 2.4G, that'd be this guy right here, the signal on this one is handled in a different way than this one. So this is a more solid wireless connection than this guy. This is why you get over 100 feet of range on this one. I believe it's up to 150 feet, but let's just call it 100 solid feet just to be, on the safe side. And this one's about 33 feet. And 33 feet is usually pretty good when you're dealing with phones and, if you want to hook it up to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or action cameras. Hooking a studio microphone like this up to an action camera is quite incredible. And the fact that the battery lasts something like 60 hours, I couldn't believe it. Like, I've only had to recharge it like once or twice since I've had it. One thing I need to let you know is Maono did send me out the receiver at no cost. I did try to order one, but I ran into some problems in the ordering process, and I reached out to Scott at Maono, and he said, no problem, and he actually just sent me one, and I want to thank him for doing that. It had to do with a glitch in the shipping system. But I was willing to buy it myself, I just couldn't get it shipped to me. So I did see another review. I think I've seen a few reviews on this receiver. And some people have said that there might be some issues with the range. And I didn't experience any of those issues that they were having. So I don't know if maybe they got a different type of unit, or maybe they had a lot more RF interference where they live. But I have a lot of RF interference where I live. I'm in an apartment building. I've got bulbs that run on 2.4G. I got networks. I got 2 streams going right now, and one of them is running on 2.4G. So there is lots going on in here. There's radio frequencies going on all around me. And I'm actually going to demonstrate that a little later in the video. So before we go and do those type of demonstrations, I think it would be only fitting that I plug this in and show you what it sounds like. So this is what a lav system sounds like. This is the one that I'm wearing. And the nice thing about these is that you can move around and have your hands free. When you have something like this, you have to be close to it and you have to kind of keep it with you, but it has a very rich and deep and soothing sound, and you're going to experience that. So this is the T5 system. And this is what it looks like. And I'm going to go to the downward shot and show you the difference between the receivers, because you'll understand why I thought that maybe it would hook up with the other receiver. So here is the receiver of the T5. That would be this system here. And this is the other receiver. And as you can see, they're almost identical, but there is some differences. If you look at this, the pins are different on this side. On this side here, we have a different button system, and this one has a USB-C through jack. So you can hook this up to a phone as well if you want to get better range, that sort of thing. It's also good for firmware updates. And on this side you have USB-C charging, and on this one you have the ability to hook this one up to a phone. But you can also use their dedicated receiver for that as well, and if you have an iPhone you can use that one. And of course they have their other clips as well. And on the bottom you have a clip for your cold shoe. That slides right into your cold shoe, no problem. And on the back you can see there's the back, and they look a little different. Just flip that one around. This one's got the indicator lights down there, and this one has them on the top, and this one has your this is for your input gain. So I have it on the lowest setting right now because this one has a very powerful amplifier in it. So I have it on the lowest setting because on my levels right now they're quite high. And that's what that looks like. So you could understand why I thought there might be a chance that we can link it with this guy, but it was a no-go on the pairing. Now, the one thing I will let you know is that it pairs to each one of these effortlessly. So if I turn this one off and I plug this one into a phone, it'll just pair. You don't have to worry about going through the whole pairing process. It'll just pair. And then if you want to have this one and shut this one off, it'll just switch over to this one, no problem at all. It's very effortless, it's very seamless, and it's not an issue. They can each handle up to 2 of those microphones, no problem. And it is a very lightweight system too. Like, you know, this one doesn't weigh much more than this one. And again, if you plug this one into a phone and you don't use the power jack, you use this part here where it's just got the USB-C symbol, then you can plug it into your phone and you can use it as the same type of receiver as this. Now, why would you do that? Well, if you wanted better range, if you wanted a more solid connection, you would use this receiver over this one. This is a more portable receiver. This is great for like action cameras. Like you can hook it into the DJI Action 6 and the 5 and those, and you can actually have a studio microphone, and you can look really very official using that with your action camera. People are going to think you got quite the elaborate setup, but there's no cables. So let's hook this up, and I'm going to show you what it sounds like, or you're going to hear what it sounds like. Okay, so now we're on the studio microphone. And this is what it sounds like. I've got noise cancellation on. I had noise cancellation on this one because I've got some noisy neighbors and I don't want that sound to get in here. Sometimes there's some, you know, thumping and banging and things like that, and I just want to keep things quiet. Their noise cancellation, by the way, is AI noise cancellation. I did do a review of this microphone, so I do recommend that you check that out, because I go through all of the features of it, what the app looks like, and all that other good stuff. So please check that out. I think that you'll find it very informative. This is what the new receiver sounds like. Now, there is some differences between this receiver and the other one. It has less frequency hopping. And you're probably going to say, well, how do you know that? Well, I've got some testing equipment, and I'm going to show you how I came to that conclusion. But one thing I am going to demonstrate right now is that I have an OBS studio. So this is a regular studio setup. I have a video switcher. Everything is connected through the HDMI. I have the video switcher recording directly. And this microphone is now hooked into that video switcher through the 3.5 millimeter input. And I can see my levels right now. Also have an OBS studio, but I'm going to use the audio from this system, and I'm feeding the video from that whole system over to this system. Oh yeah. So I'm basically taking an OBS system, an OBS studio system with a computer, and I'm putting it in a shell, and I'm feeding it through input number 1 on this video switcher. And you're going to say, wow, that's a pretty complicated setup. And yes, it is, but Nothing would explain the capabilities of something like this more than that would. So let me just go and activate that, because I'm going to turn that on. So I'm still in the corner. That's my living room. That's the camera. And I'm going to walk from this room into that room. And you're going to see that there's a whole wall in the way. So it's not line of sight. It's just me going straight from here to there. And I'm going to demonstrate how that works. And here I am. I'm coming through the doorway. I'm a little dark, but here I am. And I'm getting into my new OBS system, because a lot of people have questions about this. And there are two groups of people. There are people that like to use OBS when they're doing their live streams, and there are people that use video switchers. And I just happen to be a person that is familiar with both systems. Now, why do people use OBS? Well, the younger generation likes the creativity of it because it is computer based. So I'm going to demonstrate the connectivity of this. I'm going to demonstrate, how well it works while we're walking around with the microphone back and forth. So I'm going to take myself off the corner because I know that it's still on that. I still got the picture-in-picture engaged. And I left that on purpose to show you that I'm just going to remove that right here. Oops. There we go. So I left that on purpose to show you that I was being very fluidic in my transition. So I didn't want you to think I was doing any cuts or edits or anything like that. I just wanted to show you that this is on the fly. I really did hook up one system directly into another. So how did I connect this to that? Well, I did it through wireless video transmission, but no audio. It's just going with this microphone. And this is what it sounds like. So how does my voice sound? Does it sound deep? Does it sound soothing? Does it sound, how are my plosives? If I do plosives, I should always tilt my microphone a little bit for plosives. Never do it directly into the microphone because that's not good. But if you want to know a little trick, you just kind of angle it a bit. And so you're not like this, but you're like this. Now, they did do some measures. Now, they have taken some measures to fix that by setting the capsule back a little bit. That's one way of helping that problem. But so this is a very new design. But as I said before, this microphone really inspired me because it has all these different ways to connect it. So I could even connect this into the computer through a USB-C cable. I have some free inputs and I can connect it that way as well. But having it connected into the other room like that, it allows me to have this level of flexibility, this level of creativity. If I need a microphone, a studio microphone, I just want to come in here and I want to leave it hooked into there. I don't have to run a 20-some foot cable, XLR cable, into the other room. Now, I've also got other cameras hooked up to this system as well, so I'm going to demonstrate. So even though I have a multi-channel system there, I've also got one here. So let me just demonstrate that. Okay, so this is the microphone system here. Now, we're at warp speed right now. And I'm just going to hold this a little closer because studio microphones do need to be, we call this the proximity effect. They do sound better when you're closer to them. And the other reason why they have this effect is to naturally reject noise and sounds, because, I got noises above me. And even though I have the noise cancellation on, it's always good to have natural noise cancellation as well. And so this is what that sounds like. And, I've got different angled shots here. So let me just switch over to this one here. And, I've got, it's a little tricky, but, I've got that set up, and I've also got here's a better angle. So this is a good angle here. So this is me. This is the top view of the microphone. And here's a mute button. If I hit the mute button, so it turned red, and that means that it's muted. And other companies don't do that. So, and I'm not going to name them, but other companies, they should have done that. But you've also got your gain control here. I don't want to mess with it. And if I click it and I hold it down, that is my level of noise cancellation, and I can shut that off. So this is noise cancellation off. You probably hear a fan buzzing in the background. And there's also some other noises of things around me as well. It's not too bad right now, but it was worse not too long ago. And I'm just going to turn on the noise cancellation. So that's there. I put on noise cancellation medium. It's got different levels, which is really nice for a microphone like this. Now, if I just click it on the purple, that is your headphone jack. So believe it or not, you can actually hook headphones into this. I can monitor my audio from the microphone while it's wirelessly connected to the other receiver. Now, how much does this cost? Well, believe it or not, the microphone with the small receiver, I think, is about $200 Canadian. They want about $40 for the other receiver. So all in, you're looking at $240, which is almost unheard of. Like, I've got the DJI Mic 3 system. That's $450, and that doesn't do what this can do. It doesn't have it's just a lav system. Now, it's a very good lav system, and it has a lot of interesting features and some professional features, but for the amount of money that this one is selling for, it, I can't believe when I seen how much it was selling for. I said, what? I thought it was actually a mistake. I thought it was going to be much higher. So I don't do sponsored videos. In other words, Maono did not pay for the production of this video. And I also don't do paid affiliate links, meaning that if you were to buy that receiver or buy this microphone, I don't get a commission on it, and I don't want one. That's so that I can remain neutral and so that I can give you an honest opinion of the gear. If the gear is good, I'll tell you it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. But usually when I do collaborations with companies, like 80% of the time, it's a company that I've already dealt with. I don't ask for memberships. I don't ask for Patreon or any of that other stuff. I don't beg for money. You don't have to buy me a coffee. None of that. Just watch the video to the end, and that will be all the things that I need. So this is what the Maono PD200W hybrid microphone sounds like, with its brand new receiver that hooks into a video switcher or a camcorder or a mirrorless camera. And I just wanted to show you that it's pretty cool. Now, the last thing before I go, I wanted to talk about the 2.4 gigahertz network. So this is the 2.4 gigahertz network. And if you wanted to know how I know that that other receiver is a better quality receiver, well, you use devices like this. This is called a spectrum analyzer. And this is one of the best ones from Tiny SA. So Tiny SA makes the Tiny SA, the Tiny SA Ultra, and this is their brand new Tiny SA Ultra Plus. So it goes up to 7.4 gigahertz because in the future, I'm going to probably be testing equipment that goes up that high, because as frequencies get crowded, they're going to expand into higher frequencies. So the 2.4G network is a very congested network. Now, with this device, I could figure out if there was a lot of frequency hopping. I can also kind of look at harmonics, but it's very difficult when you're just using an antenna because you're going to get a lot of interference from other signals. But I did determine that that other receiver has a much stronger connection than the smaller one that would just plug into your phone. So if you wanted to know the answer to that, that's your answer. It is definitely a stronger connection. Now, I used to be an audio engineer, so I do know a little bit more than the average person that talks about audio. And some people have said, well, why don't you do Neumann's and Sennheiser and those kind of microphones? I'm like, well, why would I do those microphones for YouTube? This is what you need for YouTube. Don't get a $4,000 microphone for YouTube. It's not necessary. You're overpaying. And most audio engineers that are working in actual studios would probably be laughing at their TV screen, because they would never do that. They would say, wow, what a waste of money hooking in a $4,000 microphone into a YouTube connection, which is going to compress the hell out of that signal and squish it and do all kinds of other things to it. And it's not going to sound it's not going to give you the appreciation of what that microphone can actually do. Because in order to really appreciate those expensive microphones, you also have to think about things like signal flow. And signal flow means, what amp, preamp, everything has to be expensive, not just the microphone. Everything has to be high quality, not just the microphone. So if you are into music and you do want to find your sound and you're thinking of just going out and buying an expensive microphone, thinking that's going to fix your problem, I would, as a professional audio engineer, I would encourage you just to go into a good studio and pay the money, and they will help you find your sound, because it's not just the microphones and the equipment. It's the person behind that equipment that's going to help you find the sound you're looking for. And I know that a lot of audio engineers are saying, oh my God, finally a guy that is speaking the truth. Because there is a lot of people, and some people might call them hacks or whatever, that are, saying, hey, this is what they sound like and stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. If I was to have a $4,000 microphone hooked up to this computer, you would hear the personality of that microphone, because every microphone has their personality, and so does this one here. And I'm here to tell you that this one has a very nice personality, very similar to that of the Shure SM7B, and a lot of people like that microphone. And this is much cheaper than that microphone, because that one right now, I think if you get the DB version, is over $700. So imagine how many of these you could get. And it doesn't even have the cool little RGB lighting. And I know that some guys are making fun of me because they're like, wow, RGB, come on. But you can turn that off. You can even change the colors and just get rid of it entirely if you find that RGB is a little too tacky for you. There you go. So you can get rid of it. But I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to spend that much money. It's one of the reasons why I collaborate with companies like Maono, because I'm all about getting you the best quality for the best price. And that's why I don't do paid affiliate links, and that's why I don't do Patreon and those other things, because I want you to have the right answer. And this is what it sounds like. So, I would encourage you, as a litmus test, is one of the things I always tell people is don't just run out and buy something from my video. Watch all the videos on that product. I want you to do your research. I want you to make an informed purchase decision. And a lot of YouTubers, especially ones that are sponsored, would just say, no, just use my paid affiliate links, because they just want to get the commission off of that stuff. But I'm not getting a commission, so I don't have any skin in that game. So I'm encouraging you, watch other videos on this microphone, do your research. And I also want to encourage you to watch microphone reviews of much more expensive microphones, like Neumann's that cost $4,000 or $2,000, Sennheiser, AKG 414 would be another one. I would encourage you to watch those videos as well and compare what those ones sound like on YouTube, not in a studio, but on YouTube, versus this one. Because I do microphones according to what's good for YouTube and social media. Because this is where a lot of people make their money. They make money on social media. They make money on YouTube. You don't need anything that is overrated, in other words. You just need something that works. Why spend more money if you don't need to? As long as it sounds good, that's all you need. And that's coming from someone who used to do this professionally. And I know that a lot of audio engineers would agree with me on that. Why spend the money on something if you don't have the ability to exploit its full capabilities? This microphone is a good bang for the buck. And I said that before. And the fact that you can use it in a wireless way, I'm just going to turn on the RGB because I like the RGB. So this is what this microphone sounds like. And this is what it sounds like when I'm in a completely other room using it with OBS, when it's connected way the heck over there into a whole other video switcher. So I'd like to thank Maono for sending out the PD200W receiver. And I would also like to thank them once again for sending me this microphone, because it's been a really cool addition to my microphone selection. So I've always said in my videos that microphones are tools and you use different ones for different applications. And this one here has a unique personality and I will use it for specific jobs. And it's nice having that selection, because when you're doing audio work and you're doing audio for social media, you don't just pick one microphone. You have to have different kinds of microphones for different applications. So if you buy expensive microphones, you're going to limit how many different kinds of microphones you're going to have too. So on that note, I would like to say take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video.